Been trying to look the other way, like we never knew love, giving you this space. All I've got to say, stuck spinning in my head. I'm done, I'm not gonna pretend, no. I should have known it'd be this hard to let you go. Free my heart, the little things drive me insane. I'm not gonna run away, no, no. I'm not gonna run away from all that. I'm not gonna run away from all that. I'm not gonna run away from all that. I'm not gonna run away, no. Still makes me smile, and I'm not gonna hide it. Learn to love what's left, 'cause I'm too tired to fight it. So ready to move on, but not to forget you, baby. You meant something to me, more than something. I should have known it'd be this hard to let you go. Free my heart, the little things drive me insane. I'm not gonna run away, no, no. I'm not gonna run away from all that. I'm not gonna run away from all that. I'm not gonna run away from all that. I'm not gonna run away, no, run away. I'm gonna run away. I'm not gonna run
Yowzers. Hello? Still going?
Yeah. It's a fake ending. Fake ending to an episode beginning.
Yeah.
It's like a Taco Bell inside a Pizza Hut. I don't know.
Getting me hungry now.
Yeah.
But you know what's up? It's Rooster Grooves, baby. I'm Jesse. Across from me is Jay Purcell, the founder of SIGNL Radio. Welcome, everybody. We're talking about music.
Music. Yes. Welcome along.
What's up, Jay?
Pretty good. I never know what to say. You know, we have this like whole intro thing. I'm always a bit nervous when you're like, "What's up, Jez?" Like, I don't know what to say now.
Say whatever you want. That's the beauty. That is the beauty.
You know what? I'm gonna think about this from future episodes on. I'm gonna just say a wisdom that I've culled from somewhere, from artists, the internet.
Yeah, there you
like
go.
A word of, like an inspirational quote of the day or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna do that. I think I'm gonna find that.
I like it.
Yeah.
We are talking about Moonchild today.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
A musical group. 3 people.
Yes.
Amber Navran, Andres Matson, and Max Burke.
Yeah.
We got a neo-soul, jazz, R&B fusion
Yep.
trio. Just really cool, vibey, neo-soul production.
Yep.
Woman, Amber is a woman vocalist.
Yep.
So it's like a nice, sweet, soft,
Yeah.
kind of vocal palette.
Mm-hmm.
Very expressive, likens to like, I guess people have said Erykah Badu, and the just kind of general stylings, although she's not trying to emulate that or copy it in any way.
Yeah.
Just kind of comes naturally. But these guys they've worked with a bunch of huge names like there's, I don't know, Steve Wonder. I'm not sure if I know that guy.
Oh, Steve Wonder? Steve Wonder?
Oh, is I don't know.
Stevie Wonder?
Is that the? I don't know. The Internet, Jill Scott,
Yeah.
Robert Glasper, James Poyser, Jazzy Jeff, as in DJ Jazzy Jeff, I think. Ninth Wonder,
Yeah.
Tyler the Creator.
Yeah.
So, they've been around the block. They started in 2011.
Yeah.
What do you got, Jay?
Good overview. 5 albums out so far since 2012. We'll get into it a little bit, but R&B, neo soul.
Straight up. They're just kind of right in that niche.
Yeah.
And they're doing it really well.
We did an episode on Hiatus Coyote, which is one of their influences they've cited. That's a Australian group out of Melbourne. If you like Hiatus Coyote, you'll like Moonchild, vice versa. If you've never heard of Hiatus Coyote, go check out our episode on them. Cross promotion already this early in the episode.
Yeah. Try to get it out early. Both of those artists are good. Hiatus Coyote's great.
Yeah.
And Moonchild comes in with their own energy and is doing stuff that's very good.
Yeah. LA based. So they've done US tours. They started to do European tours. They've sort of, I don't want to give too much away just yet, but
No.
it's
I mean, that's pretty much it. They won the Jazz FM award for the category Soul Act of the Year.
right. Yeah.
So that's, they got some accolades going.
Yeah.
The only thing I'll say about just the general band themselves, Moonchild, they're all multi-instrumentalists, and they didn't have a lot of experience before they started making music,
Right. Yeah.
and they were kind of learning as they were going, DIY style,
Yeah.
which is really cool
Yeah.
and really inspiring. And they're just awesome musicians. They were all going to like jazz school, so they were in this jazz academy, and they met each other. Learn. We'll talk more about it, but they're all multi-instrumentalists, and they play like 6 instruments each. From like I think there's a saxophone, one plays a flute. I think they all play keys, and they all do a little bit of production and some other instruments that I didn't mention. But talented group of people making really good music, and overall just a really positive vibe.
Yeah. Let's get some more vibes.
Let's get it.
And then we'll get into the details.
Yes.
I've had my eyes on you for a while.
It's another fake ending.
This is still part of the track. Moonchild and their fake endings. So that was
Jeez.
a track called Cure from their album Voyager. Good vibes. Neo Soul here on Rooster Grooves. So yeah, 3-piece we got going on here, as we already name checked earlier in the episode. They all studied at USC, right? Studied
University of
jazz.
Southern California, baby.
There you go. Yeah.
In like circa 2012.
Oh, okay. Really? Yeah. Because they don't look young. I'm judging them. Well,
That's what my notes say, guys. That's what my notes say.
no, I think you're right, but I think they just maybe they have old souls. Like when I've seen them interviewed, they don't seem like the recent. Well, I guess 2012 is not recent. I don't know. Now it's 2023. My mind is warped on sense of time.
It's getting worse as the years go by.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
what's going on?
Yeah. But yeah, like you said, they're all multi-instrumentalists. The one common instrument, well, they have many common instruments, but being horn players is the main thing. They all play saxophone, alto saxophone, tenor saxophone. They all play synths and keys. They all produce. They all make their own beats. They use Logic Pro. I saw them, a little clip of them using Logic.
Holla back.
Yeah. And yeah, so I mean, I don't know too much about like their personal history, like of each member. I don't know if you have anything on that. But
No,
like,
not really.
yeah.
I couldn't find any early stuff
Yeah.
about parents or, house, like early child living.
Right. Yeah.
Not a lot of great information like that, or maybe it's just I didn't do a great job of researching, but we didn't find it either way.
There's just a little bit of info I have on Amber, the singer. She said her first love was saxophone. She fell in love with jazz in high school and then decided to study music in college. When the band started, Moonchild, she was working in a bakery and she was teaching music lessons on the side through like 5 different companies. After she'd finish her baking shift, she'd do the music lessons, and then after that, she would go and work on the music for Moonchild kind of thing. So
So putting in the work.
putting in the work, yeah. And she'd sort of pursued a solo career, like she was going to do stuff anyway. And that's kind of how the group came together. Like she knew Max and Andres from being in college and playing music together. Apparently they used to just like play like, they used to like write their own tunes, I think, a little bit, but they'd also play like Stevie Wonder covers and stuff like that. But she had put together a solo project and was going on like a little West Coast tour.
Right. So that's kind of where our story begins.
Yeah. And so what do you have on that? The West Coast tour, Amber's
Oh,
solo.
well, I mean, basically she had a solo project,
Yeah.
and she, like you said, she was just going to be like the solo artist. And I don't know, when I was listening to her speak in some of these interviews, and she was kind of joking about it as if it wasn't like a real tour. I think it was like it was like a tour,
Yeah.
but I think it was like, smaller venues. It wasn't like a label was pushing her to, open up for big artists and going to big venues, and it was a big thing.
Yeah.
Not a lot of promotion.
Yeah.
I think it was almost completely DIY, and she set it up herself.
Yeah.
With her own music, and so I think she was just like staying with family, and it was more of a casual DIY,
Yeah.
upstart type thing. She hadn't been signed, and people weren't pushing her out and promoting and whatnot.
Yeah.
So she kind of just built this tour for herself, and she needed some band members, so she hired these guys.
Yeah.
To be the band, and so they basically road tripped down the West Coast, playing Amber's music.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, I can't remember which member. I think it might have been Andres. Like almost wasn't part of this. There was supposed to be another person.
Yeah,
doing
somebody
the
else
band,
was hired on for the tour.
and then couldn't do it.
I think a week out before the tour was supposed to head out, he canceled for some reason.
Yeah.
I can't remember the reason.
Yeah. And so the 3 of them set off on this little tour, and in Amber's Toyota RAV4, there you go. Here's a picture of a Toyota RAV4.
Boom.
I think it might be the one. I think I saw it. I'm going to find it.
Same color.
I think we have a couple of the
That's
members
the
of the
one.
band. This is the one on the screen right now.
This very car.
For our YouTube viewers. For everyone else, sorry, I don't know what a Toyota RAV4 looks like off the top of my head.
Compact SUV.
Yeah, like compact SUV. There you go. She was driving. They were going from venue to venue, and they were bonding over their shared love of music.
Mm-hmm. So just playing stuff in the stereo.
Yeah.
In the car stereo.
And I think, at a certain point, like they were turned on to neo soul music. I think probably as far back as college, like so before this moment on the road trip kind of thing. And they were all individually hooked on the sound of like neo soul and like old soul music as well.
Right. I think they were just all discovering neo soul at about the same time as well.
Right.
So they all kind of fell into it.
Yeah.
And realized, oh, we all like this.
Yeah.
All around the same period of time.
Yeah. So like that was really the nucleus of them wanting to make music together and form a project together. I think there was like some story of them like mid road trip and they were like laying out looking at the stars or something like that.
That's what I was about to say. I think it was exactly what you said. Some mid road trip time, they had some free time. It was a beautiful night, whatever. They decided to lay out in the grass.
Right.
Probably like literally on the side of the road or nearby where they're staying. I don't know. But somewhere on the road, on the tour, and they're in I'm somewhat speculating, but this is the truth that, based on these interviews, so they're like out laying on this beautiful field. It's a beautiful California night, pretty warm. The stars are out and they're all kind of like laying on their backs, bonding, like talking about music, talking about what they want to do with music. And this is where this conversation kind of starts like, hey, we should be a band. Let's write music together. And let's do this. And that was the kind of initial spark that kind of it was the culmination of them, bonding over music in the car and me like bonding as people
and playing her music on live as well. They were like doing this whole thing. It was like it wasn't just a trip. It was like they were playing music as well in between these moments. Which is crazy,
so it was already like they had a step ahead. Yeah, and they were like, let's actually do this. We could do something bigger and better than all of us if we put our efforts together. Yeah. And it was vibing, so they were like, let's do it. Yeah. And they did it. Yeah. And that was the genesis, straight up. So I think they finished the tour, came back home, started writing, basically.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And it just sounds like it started organically. Maybe, I don't know if they really had the intention of making an album at the very beginning of making the music, but it was...
I think basically they said, like, let's see if we can make an album.
Okay.
Like casually.
Yeah.
Like they weren't like, we're going to make an album and we're going to go tour.
Yeah.
They were just like, this is a really fun idea. Yeah. Let's do it. Let's have fun. Yeah. We're already having fun on tour. Yeah. Let's just call ourselves a band and make music together.
Right. Yeah.
So very casual, just kind of naturally came together, organic style.
Yeah.
I do have a couple of the artists that they were bonding over. D'Angelo.
Yeah.
Already mentioned Erykah Badu. Yeah. You can definitely hear it in the tracks we've played.
Yeah.
The Soulquarians.
I don't know too much about them. No.
Nor do I.
Yeah.
Robert Glasper. Okay. We already mentioned him as well.
Yeah.
So those are just a couple of the things.
Yeah.
And so I guess basically I hope I'm not jumping too far out of order, but they were getting set and they had some music and they were going to go on tour. With Jill Scott? Yeah. Is that basically what's up next?
So I think a little far ahead. Yeah, so basically they put this first album together just by themselves in their own. They each have like their own like home studio setups, I think. And made the album that way pretty much. And like you said earlier, like they taught themselves this process as well. Like they didn't know anything about mixing or engineering.
Right.
So they figured that out in the process, but I think really it was just like I think it was Max that mentioned like the fact that they're all like sponges as people. Like they basically listened to all of this music and really absorbed it and like kind of internalized it, and then wanted to make music that was like that. That they could like reshare new neo soul music kind of thing, which is really crazy, and they did it. Yeah, and I think. I'm not sure how Jill Scott knew about them. I know like Amber does maybe some session work for some of these artists that we mentioned kind of thing. So it might have been through that. Do you know? Or
I don't know more than that. Yeah.
But yeah, so the Jill Scott connection, they went on tour with her.
So I mean, I think they were about to.
Okay.
I can't remember specifically how they got connected.
Yeah.
But just through kind of the story we've been telling, they got connected.
Yeah.
And this was like 2020.
Right. Oh.
Or no, wait.
Wait.
Hold on. Okay, hold on. Let me pause this for a second.
Right.
I think I jumped to my notes.
Okay.
I don't know. No, let me back out of it. I just had a weird note in the wrong spot, and I just read it.
Okay.
My bad.
So
they're bonding over music. They start a band.
they produced these songs.
They start writing. They make some music.
And they put out this album, Be Free, in 2012. And it is solidly polished right out of the gate.
I mean, yeah, that's
I would have not known that these people didn't know how to mix or had just learned how to mix and engineer whilst making this album.
Did they mix and master it themselves and put it out?
I think they probably paid for it to be mastered. Might have had someone else mix it as well. But they produced it all themselves.
Yeah.
They played everything that you hear on it. They made everything that you hear on it.
But I mean, just to say, it's very impressive in general.
Yeah.
With seemingly their lack of production knowledge and skill and just experience.
Yeah.
And they were able to come out with a professional, really good sounding album that people connect with.
Yeah, and I think what happened is they sort of did two things off of this. First thing they did is they did their little mini West Coast tour thing again, probably like a similar route to they did like initially for the solo thing. Because I think they know a lot of people, like they could crash at people's places. And yeah, they said it wasn't a big, it was just like literally people and places they knew along the West Coast kind of thing. I think Andres had also separately from this done a little bit of music for some filmmaker, and in return this filmmaker made a few like music video type things for a few tracks off of the Be Free album. And this is 2012, and they Amber sort of mentioned this was before Instagram. I'm not sure, I feel like Instagram was around then, but maybe it wasn't as big, or they didn't do video on it or something like that.
It was early Instagram.
Yeah, so they had shared like these music videos on the internet, and they got like hit a bunch of listeners and fans and stuff like that, and they said it was crazy, like they got a really good reaction from it kind of thing. So that basically just inspired them to keep going. And
including other artists were giving them praise as well.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned, which I shouldn't have mentioned, that we cut out.
We cut it out already. So
Jill Scott did, so I never said that. Including artists such as Jill Scott, that I've said for the first time on this episode.
Yeah.
DJ Jazzy Jeff, mentioned.
Yeah.
Steve Wonder, don't know that guy.
Are you joking when you say that?
You know who he is?
Yeah, Stevie Wonder.
I know.
Can't tell if you're joking or not.
That's the point. Okay. So they released this first album, Be Free.
So I'm not sure at what point. I think it was this. Yeah, it was this album that they got all that praise from all those big name people. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and so it was like instantly once you have all those multiple people putting you on, like you're gonna get new listeners coming flooding through, sort of thing.
Yeah, it's just it's like social credit.
Yeah.
Like Stevie Wonder said our album was good.
Yeah,
it's like a Yelp review. It's like okay, then I'll give it a listen if I love Stevie Wonder and Stevie Wonder says this band is good.
And it wasn't just also that they just said it was good. It was like they actually, like in the case of Stevie Wonder, apparently I heard the story where he heard the music and then asked one of his representatives to call them, like literally.
Well, I mean, that
hours.
is the story. We should lay it out. But basically, they released this album, Be Free.
Yeah.
And then Stevie Wonder heard it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm saying the same thing that you said, but I'm just trying to lay it out in a clearer way.
Yeah.
Because the Stevie Wonder heard your album and then had his people call you and say, "Hey, open up for my band. Mm-hmm. Come on tour with me. Play a show."
The next day, not even in the future. It was like literally tomorrow. Can you play the show tomorrow?
Yeah.
You don't say no to Stevie Wonder.
Exactly. So it was that instance, and I think it was around Christmas. So these band members had to like call out of their family time.
Right.
Like, I know I was going to go to Christmas, but Stevie Wonder called me, so I'm going to go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what you do.
Stevie wanted me to share
Wonder
the stage with Stevie. I'm going to go.
Yeah.
I'll do Christmas at home next year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, awesome opportunity, obviously.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and it's that, and it's been so just kind of I guess to touch on like their trajectory for a second. All of that big stuff happened with this first album, Be Free. In general terms, though, they've talked about it being like a slow organic rise kind of thing. They said the first album, all of this stuff happened, like the Stevie Wonder one-off thing, but also mostly just touring the West Coast.
right.
They do the second album, and then their tour gets expanded. They do a few more dates on the East Coast kind of thing. Third album comes out. They do West Coast, East Coast, and Europe kind of thing. And so throughout this whole time as well, like the press, certain media outlets are getting to know them. There's a big scene of like neo soul lovers out there, like that have like a lot of websites, radio shows that people listen to and stuff like that. And so they're getting support from that sort of community as well, kind of thing. So just sort of interesting, kind of like slow, steady output. No like one big thing that's like happening. They're just like doing their thing and the stuff's happening kind of thing.
Although I would say Stevie Wonder calling to play a show would be a huge catalyst.
For sure.
I mean, if it happened in my life, it would be like one of the biggest things that ever happened in my life that set a new trajectory.
It's true.
You know.
Yeah.
So just they're putting in the work.
Yeah.
100%. I'm not taking that away from them, but I you know, that for a new up and coming band.
Yeah.
And a legend, literally a living legend calls you.
Right.
I got to say that's a huge thing.
I forgot. Yeah, he's a living legend. Yes, for sure.
So, but yeah, anyway, so Be Free. Yeah. Next is Rewind 2015.
Yeah.
Comes out 10 songs.
Yeah.
You know, you know, more of the same. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but Moonchild is really exploring this neo soul R&B kind of sector of the music industry.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about a progressive band right now.
Yeah.
We're not talking about people who are just doing brand new things and trying new techniques.
Yeah.
And just, you know, they're just doing something very well.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know what the best way to say it is, because I feel like it's lame to say that, but like they're just doing it very well. And that's simply what's impressive about it. When you can like not copy, but like engage with a genre and do it really well, and so that people enjoy it, but it doesn't come across as copying.
Yeah.
Or, you know, it doesn't come across as just doing the same thing that other people have done and recreating it.
Yeah.
Like they're doing it at such a high level that people are like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's next level neo soul.
Yeah.
And so that's what's impressive about what they're doing.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, Please Rewind is kind of more of the same. They're finding out more about who they are as, you know, multi-instrumentalists and as a band, as a unit.
Yeah.
And so they're just playing with that idea. And I think this album shows that they grew a little bit. They got a little bit better at production.
Yeah.
But overall, it's just another solid album.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's nothing. It's crazy. Like I was listening through bits of each album, and there was no drastic shift or change or an evolution. And I mean that, kind of in a complimentary way as well, because it's like it kind of sounds like they knew what they were doing when they started, and they haven't let up, like kind of thing.
No, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They came out strong, and they maintained that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I say we just go through this.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything else to say on that album particularly.
Yeah.
So, you know, they do that album, they tour on it, steady growth.
Yeah.
Steady incline trajectory of, you know, more people knowing about them.
So like still only US touring, but they're adding the East Coast kind of thing.
Yeah. So just like a slow, steady growth over the past decade.
Yeah.
Well, you know, exactly like 10 years about. So, yeah. So then this is a kind of a, I don't know if poignant is the right word, but Voyager, the album Voyager comes out in 2017. And I think that's where they really make their mark. As far as their first 3 albums go, that was like, it's the best one since they started as a band, is what I would say. It's just the most cohesive.
Yeah.
You know, it has 13 songs. It's pretty packed.
We played a couple of tracks already. That's from that album.
Exactly.
Voyager,
And so you can hear how just like what a home run it was.
Yeah.
The production's great, the writing's great, and it just all really culminates into a strong package.
Yeah.
And that's what Voyager is.
It's interesting because I think there was a bit of a change in this because for the previous 2 albums, I don't think they really worked together, like per se. But for Voyager, it said it took them 3 years to write, and they finished it at Max's girlfriend's parents had a cabin in Lake Arrowhead, which is this beautiful, lush place in California. And all 3 of them, like after like basically putting the blueprint of all the songs together, like all went to this cabin and finished the album together, kind of thing, which is something that it sounds like they hadn't done before, kind of thing. So
right,
like probably contributed to this how the solidity of this album sounding, kind of thing. Like
100%, I bet.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
And so, what a success!
Yeah.
And I think that's the great album,
Yeah.
best one that they've put out.
Yeah.
Probably until their last album that they've come out, which we'll talk about in a second.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm just moving through. This stuff is really good. There's not, I'm not trying to talk bad about this, but it's just they're doing the same thing over and over. It's one of those bands, and they do it very well.
Yeah.
And I can't say enough about it.
And we're gonna have a track from Little Ghost, right? This is the next album.
Yeah. So 2019.
Yeah.
It's 14 songs. Before we say anything else, let's play that track.
All right. This is called Sweet Love.
Picking pieces of the happy from my past. Had me pulling every petal apart.
Sweet Love from Moonchild from their album Little Ghost. Little Ghost is the name of a nebula, apparently. That's where they got that title from.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
They were going through different space things to try and come up with titles. They went through names of moons. And then, they settled on Little Ghost from Nebula.
Nice.
Nebula, yeah. Well, I was going to say, I don't know if you want to do it now or later in the show, but I have 10 creative tips from Amber.
Let's do it now.
You doing it now?
I like it.
All right. So she was asked, do you have any habits that you feel contribute to your effectiveness? Mm-hmm. And all of these are really good. So first one is setting deadlines and asking for help.
Nice.
Working through fear.
I like it. Be brave.
Doing things you don't think you're capable of.
Yes.
Goal setting.
Setting goals.
Self-forgiveness.
Mm-hmm. Be kind to yourself.
Taking intentional time to rest and refuel.
Intentional
time to rest. Supporting your peers.
Mm-hmm.
Finding a community of people in the same position and talking through your experiences together.
Mm-hmm.
Journal often.
Mm. Reflect.
And finally, finding ways to quiet the inner critic and trust your own judgment.
Mm-hmm. That's very comprehensive and,
that's a very good list.
well-rounded. Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
That is very good.
Yeah.
That's something to hang up on your fridge.
Yeah, for sure.
Look up every day.
Yeah.
That's great, though.
And the other thing to say about this group, this trio, is it's funny. There's nothing edgy about them.
Yeah.
They're like just like nice, normal people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just feel like every interview I see, I think I could just like bump into them like in the coffee shop or something like that. Or
yeah, and they'll just be normal, boring people.
There's no controversy happening here with this.
Yeah.
It's funny because you listen to their music and it's like, in a way, futuristic neo soul and forward thinking. Mm-hmm. I've seen like one clip of him when like one of the guys walks in with his phone and is like, "Yeah, I put my shoes in the dryer and I recorded this." And then like, I think it's a beat, and then you can hear it, and it's like, and then it's like, yeah, that is a beat.
That is a beat.
These people think in really creative, fun, future, funky ways, but they're like the most normal. Hate to say it, boring people. Boring in a good way. I don't know.
No, but that's, I think like we all have that in us.
Yeah.
Like we all have it in us to be boring and normal.
Yeah.
Quote unquote.
Yeah.
And those same people that are boring and normal and safe have the power to be creative and outgoing and progressive.
Yeah. So you don't need to be a crazy extrovert, blah, 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 whatever that entails. To make music like this.
You don't have to feel like an artist to make great art.
Yeah. Yeah, because these people, they're not about fame or image. Mm-hmm. They're just normal people making good music, and they don't have any other contrived things that they're attaching to this like success or anything like. Mm-hmm. They literally, all they say is we just want to make good music and that we're happy with and that people like that, and that's it. Like
there's no story there. They're just they like what they do.
Yeah, there's no controversy here.
Yeah,
there's no illegal activities happening. Like
not even any dating within the band or nothing.
Yeah,
which is great.
Yeah,
like they're well-rounded, down-to-earth, cool, chill people.
Yeah,
doing great stuff, and it shows that we're all capable of that.
Yeah,
we can all do what they're doing.
Yeah,
anybody can.
Yeah,
and I like that.
Yeah, and I think the other thing to say, and I think like. They walk the talk, if you know what I mean, kind of thing. Like I just gave that list of 10 things that Amber said, but I think she actually puts them to work, and you can see it and hear it.
Yeah, I don't think those don't sound like something that she just came up with to satisfy the interviewer.
No,
you know.
Yeah, not at all. It's something she lives by. It sounds like because one of the other things she does is I have kind of a quote here. She said, "One of my goals in music is to build empowering, supportive community of creatives within the music industry. and the music scene that I'm in. So I think in order to reverse a lot of the discrepancies in the representation of women, you have to be intentional about who you call, who you're working with, who you're posting about, and who you're supporting. That like definitely ties into like her list of things. She said, without that intentionality, I think you're gonna change a lot slower, kind of thing. So you need to be intentional about this stuff, and like they're doing it. And then this sort of plays into COVID times, right? And their last album, the most recent album, Starfruit. Because this is the first one when they have a lot of collaborations on it, right?
Yeah. For sure.
They got Tank and the Bangers right here. We did an episode on them.
Very good stuff.
Yeah.
Lala Hathaway.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty big.
Yeah.
I got a list here. You got
Yeah, no, go for it. Yeah.
Okay. Let me say my list.
Yeah, say your list.
Alex Isley. Heard the name. Not familiar. Rhapsody. Know the name. Not familiar. I'm not saying. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. Il Camille.
Okay.
I think it's Il Camille. Moo Fresh.
Okay.
I don't know all of these people. I'm sorry. Not sorry. Shantae Can.
Okay. Yeah.
So, I mean, let us know if you guys know about those artists. I don't know some of those names, but these are some of the names. They're doing big things in the music industry, and Moonchild featured all of those artists on this latest album, Starfruit, from 2022.
Ties into one of Amber's things. Support your peers.
There
I
it
think
is.
the fact we haven't heard or not familiar with some of these artists is because maybe they're at the same level as Moonchild, similar vein, genre, and they're supporting their peers.
Yeah.
I mean, I think one thing they said about this is all these people that they had to collaborate on here were people that they loved and were listening to, and it was kind of like their dream collaboration list. And so they already had their songs, and then they were like, "Oh, I want to have Tank of Bangers on this track," kind of thing. And they literally did that and contacted them, and they said it was a stroke of luck because it was during COVID and no one could tour.
Right.
So everyone was at home, and so they were all available and to like say yes. And it seems kind of a little bit crazy to me that you would just send like Tank and the Bangers one song specifically, and that they actually like it and do something on it. And that's what seemed to happen with all of these tracks. All of these artists liked what they heard and were inspired enough to add something to it and then send it back to them, kind of thing. Like, and that's how those tracks came about. It sounded like on this album, Starfruit.
So, super great stuff. I think this is one of their best things.
Yeah, for sure. I
I would even dare to say start with Starfruit if you never listened to this band, Moonchild, and trying to get into it. Although it does have a bunch of features, which sometimes I would stay away from if I'm just trying to really experience what the band is about.
Yeah.
So in that respect, I would start with probably the first album.
Or maybe Voyager. I don't know.
Or maybe Voyager.
Yeah.
Maybe Voyager is I'll land on Voyager as my answer.
Yeah.
Start with Voyager, then go to the first album, then go to the last album.
Right.
Boom.
Yeah. Boom. Out.
That's what you got to do. But that brings us, that album Starfruit came out in 2022. That's the latest thing.
Yeah.
And that brings us up to date. I think they did play in Seattle in 2022.
They did?
In June or July, I believe. So we missed that.
Right. Yeah.
I do know Moonchild has played, I think they did a Tiny Desk concert.
Yes. I think 2019, I think I saw somewhere.
Which was pretty cool. And I did want to mention how you mentioned what she was speaking about, ideas and intention and stuff. And that's one thing she makes sure to do, or as a band at least, they stop the set sometime in the middle of their set when they're playing a live show, and they just talk to the audience for a second, just a minute or so, and they just have like a little speech, and they're like, treat each other well, saying some positive things, whatever.
Yeah.
And they just make a little speech about it and be like, yeah, let's do this. Let's try to be good people.
Yeah.
Yada, yada. But it's cool that they do that with intention as well. And they just said that they do that at normal shows, and they didn't want to change that for the Tiny Desk concert. So they even did it there too.
Oh, gosh.
And just check it out. Cause I think it's really cool how she does things, as mentioned, with intention. I think that's huge. I think that's powerful.
Yeah.
And I think they're using that power to manifest the career that they've garnered.
Yeah. I'd like to be at one of their shows though, because it's, to me, like one of the best shows I've ever been to crowd-wise was Lamb in London years and years ago. We did an episode on Lamb. Might have talked about it then. But the vibe of like everyone that was there that liked Lamb was like on my level. It's like the first time I've been to a show. It's like, oh, these are cool people.
Yeah.
I feel like I might get that vibe at a Moonchild show maybe. Like some of the people that show up there will be like,
I feel like this is the kind of band that brings people together like that.
Yeah.
Through the music, through the collaborations, through the love that they put into the project.
Yeah.
That's what's being communicated to the people.
Yeah.
And then those are the people who want to go to the show.
Yeah.
So I believe it.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. They're very like nice, normal people, positive, making great future forward sounding neo soul music. Mm-hmm. And they have all of this intent and positive way of achieving things, which they live by in what they're doing. It's crazy. So I like it.
Moonchild.
Yeah.
Check it out. I like it. That's all I got, Jay.
That's all I got.
Let's bounce out of here.
Yeah.
This was a fun one. I like Moonchild. Jay likes Moonchild. You guys should like Moonchild. We are out. If you guys want to hit us up, you can hang out with us on Instagram.
At Rooster Grooves.
TikTok.
At SIGNL Radio.
YouTube.
At Rooster Grooves.
And I think that's everywhere we are online. But if you want to hit us up directly with some info, or you got something nice to say or something mean to say, we accept those as well. Mm-hmm. And you can hit us up directly at the email. Jay's got it. We're out.
Roots to Grooves at signalradio.com. SIGNL radio.com.
Peace.
To pray and be patient, cause a woman's heart should be kept sacred. The good Lord must have heard me and I thank him. Before now was on the verge of breaking down. I like you if you want me to say it plainly. You tickle all of my fancy, quite frankly. You got me changing, wearing my Sunday's best on Wednesdays. Guess I'm becoming one of them little ladies who talk about their baby boo all day. Conversation, we parlay. The jury's in, you got a strong case. The reason I text you, hey babe, after a long day. From the stool to the kitchen, chefing your favorite plate. The first time someone ain't winning my A. When it started getting real, this emotional real estate. We letting our feelings build, foundation is laid and it's sturdy. I ain't afraid to drop the L word early. It's real.
Roots to Grooves is a production of SIGNL Radio. For more music and independent culture, visit signalradio.com. That's SIGNL radio.com.